I'm sorry, but rumours of my death have been exaggerated. No, not me. My camera format. Keep watching and I'll tell you why. Roll titles. Well, hi YouTube, Brian James, that Micro Four Thirds guy with you once again, and we're out on another blustery, windy, dull day in Cumbria here at Lanercost. I'm just down the road from the Abbey Bridge itself, and the opposite direction you've got Lanercost Priory that way. So both of which you've seen on this channel before, so if you check out the videos you can find out a little bit where I am. Now, it's that time of year again, isn't it? It's early January when we start reflecting upon what happened last year and we start surmising as to what's going to happen for next year in the photography line. And this is normally the time when I would do a video saying, is Micro Four Thirds still a relevant format? And this year I decided I wasn't going to do that. Then I started looking on the internet at all the photographers who are doing exactly the same. And I'm amazed how many people are doing that in 2023. Now, I'm not going to say about whether Micro Four Thirds is dead or not. I will tell you at the beginning of this video, right now, no, it's not dead at all. But keep watching because I will tell you why I think we need to stop these videos. Now, I've looked around at an awful lot of these videos out there and they're all doing the same thing as usual, and I've been guilty of this in the past. I admit, put my hands up, yes, I have been guilty of this in the past, that I've surmised as to whether Micro Four Thirds was a finished format. We spend a lot of money on our camera gear. We spend a lot of time and investment in trying to learn how to use it, and we put a lot of belief into a mechanical format, an electronic format, which we tend to base a lot of what we do photography in. And it's very simple to get very paranoid almost as to whether it's the right one or not. Well, I made this decision in 2018 to go on to Micro Four Thirds, and I don't regret it for one day since. I have kept on abreast of what's happening in the other formats, but I've got no intention of changing. But one of the things I want to do is to have a look as to what we have done this year and to bolster up the case as to why Micro Four Thirds is anything but a dead format. We've had three major releases this year, in my opinion. First of all was the OMD Systems, the OM1. A huge step forward in Micro Four Thirds cameras, in my opinion. Its 20 megapixel stacked sensor is a big improvement on what we had previously. It's basically what we've had, all the good things that we've had from all the EM1s over the years, all rolled up into a bundle, very similar, but packed with extras in it, which are just superb. The sales of that camera went through the roof. It was so difficult to get hold of it was untrue because people wanted to buy it and wanted those facilities on the camera. It is, in my opinion, one of the best cameras on the market, irrespective of the format. It's just simply superb. Then, of course, not long after that, we got the best stills camera, in my opinion, that Lumix have ever done. Not a G9 Mark II. No, nothing like that. The GH6. Yeah, I know you think it's purely a video camera. It's not. It is a superb stills camera, and as a video camera it is unbelievably good. It's just a superb camera. That 24.1 megapixel sensor is just awesome. And although I've said in the past that I'm not a great fan of having huge numbers of megapixels on the sensors, it doesn't float my boat too much. What it does mean is that we're taking a step towards keeping up with the other formats. The other formats have been leaving us behind, and when it comes to marketing, whether you like marketing or not, marketing is actually what sells the cameras, which keeps this format active. When it comes to marketing, it is a good marketing point. But it is, I think, a good sensor. It's really impressive, and the camera itself is superb. So the GH6 was the next step. Then came the more controversial one, and I admit it's been controversial in my reporting as well. From Olympus we got the OM5 in November time. What can I say about the OM5? Right, I'll do the positives. The positives of the OM5. If you remember, I did a review of the EM5 Mark III in December, and there's a link just above to that one. And I said at the time that if I had to get rid of all my camera bodies and just have one camera body, it would be an EM5 Mark III. Now the OM5 has everything the EM5 Mark III has, including the style and the feel of it. It's just a darn good camera. It really is good. It feels good in the hand and it produces incredibly good images. But it's got extras. It's an EM5 Mark III with extras. Price point wise, it was the same sort of price point as what the list price was in the EM5 Mark III. Yes, I know you could get discounts on the 5 Mark III because it'd been out for a while, but the price point of it was the same, about £1,300 UK. So what it meant is you had one of the best cameras on the market, slightly improved for the same price point. And I know £1,300 is a lot of money, and when you're investing a lot of your own money into that, it makes you think about it. But it is a really good camera and a really good camera for the price. So why did it get a bit of a slating? Because of the marketing. OMD Systems didn't market it well, in my opinion, and that had a detrimental effect on the camera. But the camera is just about flawless in my books. It is superb. And if I was going out to buy a brand new camera now, as opposed to a used one, I'd get an OM5. I think they're superb, and I would encourage anybody else to do that. So we've had 3 really good releases from the 2 big major manufacturers this year. Now to me, that says lots and lots of positive things. Now I've also been in a privileged position this year because of running this channel and because of specialising in the Micro Four Thirds, that I've spoken to reps from both OMD Systems and from Lumix, and they've confided in me several things which weren't for release to the public. I knew an awful lot of bits and pieces about the OM5 before it came out, and I had some privileged information. I didn't diverge in public, but it was really formative in my views. And the biggest formation in my views was that both of these people are putting, well, both these manufacturers, should I say, are putting investment and time into getting their product out and getting their product right for us Micro Four Thirds shooters. So my belief is, as much as possible in this strange market that we have, that Micro Four Thirds from the 2 big manufacturers is certainly stable and certainly going forward. Now, before I go on, if you like this channel, don't forget, if you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button below and give us a big thumbs up, because that really does help YouTube's algorithms to spread these videos far and wide so more people can see them. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, you'll find in the description below a link to both my Patreon channel, where you can support, and I thank everybody who has, or if you just want to buy me a cup of coffee, there's a PayPal link below as well. So what about the ancillary stuff around it? Well, we've got manufacturers, third-party manufacturers, such as Sigma. Sigma are still doing lenses for Micro Four Thirds format and doing some incredibly good ones as well. So if you're interested in a third-party lens on that, then Sigma are certainly able to fulfill those needs. And I've also done tests from 2 other third-party manufacturers, and there's several of them, but I've done tests on lenses from both 7 Artisan and TT Artisan this year. And although they're not specialising in Micro Four Thirds, the important thing for me is they are putting the Micro Four Thirds format as one of the formats on their lenses. Now, that takes investment, it takes belief from them, and it's really good to see. And they're bringing some incredible lenses out from the sidelines. But we've also got other things which are going on as well. There is still very much a buoyant market in the more compact side of things. I've got my GX8 here with me, and I've said I love using this camera. The GX9 has been in the market for a good while, and I've seen a few reviews of that. Is a GX9 up to it in 2023, and everything comes out positive. Now, the thing I would implore both Olympus and Lumix to do is to keep on investing in some of the non-DSLR shaped cameras, you know, the GX8 or the whatever, and these sort of rangefinder style cameras. These are just as important in the market. Now, the market overall for cameras full stop is shrinking. We're seeing it from all the big manufacturers, Canon, Nikon, they're all going down in market share. Mobile phones have taken a huge chunk out of the domestic camera market, and that's worth bearing in mind. But it's not disappeared yet, and there are still things that these cameras can do which mobile phones cannot do and are not going to do in the foreseeable future. There will be things that these will improve on. A lot of the AI technology which is in mobile phones is going to appear in cameras like this in the very near future, I can promise you. We've got all sorts of things coming out. New sensors coming, and for instance with the S5 Mark II, again I put a video out just last week about this, with a phase detector that Lumix have brought into that has just got to make its way onto the Micro Four Thirds format cameras from them. And with the combination of Olympus and Lumix both having phase detect and contrast autofocus and a DFD on the Lumix, this is making an incredible camera system for all sorts of users. Now, of course, we still have one huge advantage which I harp on about, but it is worth bearing in mind, and that is the size and weight of the system. I know that the camera body, something like my GX8 here or my G9, which is a big camera body, they are comparable to some of the full frame cameras. They're not being beaten on that, but you try putting lenses this size from any of those systems onto the camera and you're still nowhere near what a Micro Four Thirds can do. It really is impressive, especially on the zoom lenses for Micro Four Thirds, the range that you can get and the size of the lenses in comparison to their other formats. And that, to me, is another thing which is always going to keep Micro Four Thirds at the forefront of what's being shot. But let me know in the comments below, do you think I'm way off the mark? Is Micro Four Thirds format, in your opinion, a dead format, or is it something which is thriving? Because I don't intend doing another one of these videos again, to tell you the truth. My cards are very much on the table. Micro Four Thirds, for me, is a living, breathing format, which is going to stay a living, breathing format for a considerable amount of time to come forward, as long as people still keep on investing their money to buy the cameras. Now, with that, that's a huge thing to say, but I think it's an important one. The other thing which gets me as well, when I read an awful lot of the comments, and thank you for the comments because I really do appreciate them, is how many people say, well, we don't like the current cameras, we don't like what's happening with the support from OMDS or from Lumix or whatever it is like that, and we're changing format. Well, why? Has your camera that you've been using all this time suddenly stopped being a good camera because other cameras are changing? I'm still using my Olympus EM1 Mark I with its 16 megapixels and thoroughly enjoying taking photographs on it and getting some amazing results from a camera which came out in 2012. In fact, just before Christmas, if you remember, I bought a G1, the great granddaddy of all the Micro Four Thirds cameras, with its 12.1 megapixel and its incredibly poor ISO performance and slow shutter speed. If I go to the high level, it's 3 frames a second. Wow. Do you know what though? It produces fabulous photos. And if Lumix or Olympus were to suddenly stop manufacturing tomorrow, it wouldn't make the cameras that I have inoperative. I expect the cameras that I have to carry on, I'm 61 now, for best part of the rest of my life if I wanted them to. And to be honest, the facilities on those cameras and the way that those cameras will actually operate are far in advance of anything I'll be pushing it to do. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. As I say, I really do appreciate this. But as I say, this will be my last video to say, is Micro Four Thirds dead? Because it is not. It's going to be going a long time. Prove me wrong. Now, before I go, as I say, once again, subscribe to the channel if you wouldn't, give me a thumbs up. And if you look there, there is a link to a PayPal if you would like to buy me a cup of coffee to help support this channel. It does take a certain amount of money to do that, and I don't really make any money out of this channel, but I enjoy doing the videos for you. And if you would like to become a patron of the channel, then there's a Patreon link again there, and keep watching, because in a couple of seconds you'll find a whole list of people who are giving their support to the channel, and I really do appreciate it from each and every one of you. Till the next time, keep on taking your camera out, whichever format, keep on taking your photographs, and keep on having fun with your photography. Bye.